Well, I think he also recognized he was playing for legacy, and that caused him to kick it in and dig deep.
Yep.
And leave it all out on the field. You hear that all the time, I'm going to leave it out on the field. He left it all out on the field to the point where when it was all said and done, there really was a question as to whether or not he was going to keep playing. Sean McVay addressed that yesterday when he was otherwise on his honeymoon, talking about the possibility of Donald retiring. Here is what McVay had to say.
And he called me and, this was a possibility. And I said, listen, if there's anybody after 8 years that has earned the right to be able to step away on his own terms because of everything you've accomplished, if you want to spend more time with your family, if you're ready for whatever these next endeavors in your life are going to be, he's going to be successful at whatever he does. I say, hey, I have nothing but appreciation and respect for you. And you've changed my life for the better as a result of me getting a chance to coach you. I said, however, if this is financially driven, shame on me, shame on you if we can't get this thing figured out, because we've got, your agents, we've got our guys in the front office that are committed to trying to figure out a good collaboration where you get rewarded the way you deserve, that also fits within our team. And then we've got a willing owner in Stan Kroenke, that wants to try to be able to do that. And fortunately, we were able to get that done.
There was a family component to this. There was a distance component, living and working in Los Angeles when he is a Pittsburgh guy. That was real. That wasn't posturing. The posturing came later, and it worked out to the tune of the first $30 million per year non-quarterback, true $30 million per year non-quarterback in league history. But early on, it was about being in L.A. for 6 months out of the year when he'd rather be in Pittsburgh. And that's important, Chris, because that pool is only going to continue. Family issues in Pittsburgh, wants to be in Pittsburgh or close to Pittsburgh. And I think that's significant because after 3 years, as we've said, he becomes free and clear, can go anywhere he wants. Rams can't stop him. You know what he can do after 2 years?
He can leave too, right?
He can say, I retire.
Yeah.
He can pull the Tom Brady.
Right.
I retire, and they can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I retire. See you later. Let's have the ceremony. Put me straight into the Ring of Honor if they even have one with the Rams, and, do all the stuff. And then 2-3 months later, you work out a deal where he can play in or close to Pittsburgh. Because what are the Rams going to do at that point? Are they going to stand in his way at that point?
No, they're not.
They get nothing from him.
Right.
If he's done and he stops playing, they get nothing. And if he's going to go to the other conference,
that's right.
which I think is, think about it. If he wants to be in or close to Pittsburgh, think about the possibilities. They're the 4 teams of the AFC North.
Yeah.
That's what fascinates me. And people are like, oh, that's 2 years away. You know what? 2 years goes pretty damn fast, especially when you get old like I am. 2 years is going to be here before you know it. You're going to have the Browns, the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Steelers jockeying for position potentially. Definitely 3 years from now, maybe only 2 years from now, if he retires from the Rams and then a few months later tries to resurface in Pittsburgh or close to Pittsburgh. That will be something, especially if he's still playing at a ridiculously high level, Chris.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see. I wouldn't put it past Aaron Donald or wouldn't put it past the being on his radar as far as doing this contract. Having that at least in the back of his mind to go, oh, well, maybe I can make that a possibility. And to your point, I think after 2 years, if he gets his $32 million, and the $32 million, whatever, and he's at 65, and if I really think he's at the point of his career with the Rams and what he's done for them, and Sean McVay, if he's there, that if he literally just 2 years went, guys, it's been awesome. I only want to play a year or two more. I'd like to go back to Pittsburgh and play there. I don't think they'd stop him. I don't. Again, you go back to the Mike Tomlin, we want volunteers, not hostages. I think most teams feel that way, and especially when it comes to a guy like Aaron Donald and the things you've heard McVay say about him already just during this show. One of one, the man, blah, 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 all of that stuff, to where I think there's great respect there, and I don't think the Rams would hold that up. I don't. Again, I think that's part of the magic with the Rams there. That's why I didn't really doubt the fact that this would get done, because as we see right there with the I Am Athlete podcast with McVay, to me, he's in the conversation, or if not standalone, the best communicator in the league. He is. He's got a magical way with people, and especially his own players, and it's one of his greatest strengths, and that's why he's able to manage all these personalities and stars who are making all this money. And I don't think he would make a big deal about it if Aaron Donald wanted to get out of town in 2 years.
And he doesn't muss around. He cuts right to it.
He does,
Aaron Donald,
exactly.
If this is a financial issue, shame
Let's
on
get
both
to
of us
it.
for not
Right.
working it
Here
out.
we go. Right.
Same as what they did last year. Jared Goff. Hey,
exactly.
It's working.
Right.
Let's move on.
Yes.
We're not going to ignore our problems. We're going to clean them up. Whether it's a guy we really want to be here,
right,
or a guy we don't want to be here, we're going to be honest with it now. 3 years ago, they should have been honest about. No, that's a different issue altogether. Maybe he learned from that experience.
Yeah, I think so.
Not to allow his glass half full propensity to get in the way of good business. And look, this point can't be overemphasized. He gets a huge raise, Aaron Donald does, with no further commitment. And I'm sure it was important to him to have this flexibility at this stage of his career. He's already under contract for 3 more years. So you start the process or finish the process with Aaron Donald saying through his agents, I want more money, but I'm not giving you more of a commitment. That doesn't happen. To get a $40 million raise for nothing in return, plus a structure that lets you walk away with $65 million in your pocket for 2 years with no potential signing bonus forfeiture. That doesn't happen. Now, the question becomes, what kind of precedent does that set? And we hear that from time to time. When the Steelers busted their typical contract structure last year,
right.
TJ Watt. Well, what are others going to say? Well, you know what? Play like TJ Watt and we'll deal with it.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's the message of the rest of the league. If you're Aaron Donald, the smart teams are going to find a way to work with you and give you more money without expecting anything more from you other than show up and kick ass as you have for the past 8 years.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think it's going to set too much precedent other than it's Aaron Rodgers-ish, and I know Rodgers isn't even quite this good. But to me, this is for the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Famers. These are these type of guys that get these type of deals right here. And I don't think it's going to, it's not going to bother too many people in the locker room because you're going to realize, again, the NFL players know the pecking order. They know how it goes. They know who the king of the locker room is, and 99 is the king of that locker room for sure. So, this is I think a special thing. To your point, I mean, again, I think that's the biggest thing I walked away with yesterday too when I first saw it. I kept going, wait, whoa, did they tore up the last contract? Like he's getting like just fresh money, like you said a million times. I hope all the fans out there can realize that. It doesn't happen. I mean, it just doesn't. And in fact, I maybe should have thought about this before the show, but when is the last time we've even seen something like this happen? I can't remember just off the top of my head.
Tom Brady got an $8 million raise his last year in New England with no new commitment.
With no new commitment. That's right. So that was that. That's not, this type of money. So, but that's the only one I can even remotely think of off the top of my head that's like this.
Yeah, the teams aren't wired to do this. So kudos to the Rams to understand what it takes. It's a rare situation. You're not going to have guys lining up out the door saying, I want the same thing, because the response is, you're not Aaron Donald. You're not Aaron Donald.
Exactly right.
You're not Aaron Donald.
Exactly.
Do this for Aaron Donald. And, I can't resist, because I remember vividly the 2014 draft and the run-up to the draft and Aaron Donald, the questions about Aaron Donald. 6'1", 284.
Right.
He's not your prototypical defensive tackle.
Right.
And there was the knock on him from that perspective. Sure. I wonder, let me ask you this question before we get into it.
Yeah.
Because there's one specific team that I'm curious about that could have had Aaron Donald. Because I think it's safe to say now that any team that was drafting before number 13, Rams, including Rams at number 2 when they took Greg Robinson, should have taken Aaron Donald instead.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the Patrick Mahomes draft now.
Even
the
Buccaneers and Mike Evans.
Right.
I still think the Buccaneers would have been better off without Aaron Donald.
Yes.
They did okay with Mike Evans.
Right.
They still would have been better off with Aaron Donald.
Yes, right.
What would Bill Parcells have said about Aaron Donald coming into the NFL? 6'1", 284, built like a linebacker. No big midsection, no girth that offensive linemen have to push around. Would Parcells have kind of sneered at a 6'1", 284 defensive tackle?
Well, I don't ever want to disrespect Bill Parcells. I mean, he's got an incredible eye for talent. But as we've discussed,
I got a reason for the question.
Yeah, okay. Because as we discussed before, I don't think he would have been their cup of tea as far as Bill Parcells, as far as they like the big people like we talked about. Again, size is a skill, and I think that's why he lasted to 13 a little bit, because there's very few reference points in the history of the sport that say these measurables work for this position. So, again, I would say no. That wouldn't really fit what Bill Parcells usually would want, unless he really saw, what we all didn't see here.
Here's why I asked the question, and at the risk of getting any potentially hostile text messages, there was a Parcells protege who was a first-year head coach of the Minnesota Vikings in 2014 by the name of Mike Zimmer, who could have had Aaron Donald, and they took Anthony Barr instead. Not that Anthony Barr was horrible.
No, he was not.
But I remember thinking pre-draft, not that I know a damn thing about evaluating players, but I remember thinking, this Aaron Donald guy, I got a feeling he's going to be decent. I had no idea he was going to be great, but I had a feeling he's going to be decent. And this whole 6'1" stuff, I remember John Randall. I remember Alan Page, for crying out loud. Just because a guy isn't gigantic Vince Wilfork dimensions doesn't mean he can't create havoc pushing his way through or slipping around much larger offensive linemen. I just can't help but wonder whether some of that Parcells mindset influenced Mike Zimmer and the Vikings in 2014 to go linebacker instead of Aaron Donald.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't. Again, teams have their beliefs as far as how they want their team orchestrated, and I think I can understand it at the time. I will say I was one to going, man, this guy's some crazy athlete, and he's quick and he's strong as hell. But did you wonder that? Oh, okay, well, hey, ACC football. I don't know. Can he do this in the NFL? I did, certainly, as much as he was exciting to watch and everything there. So I know, it's funny thing about that draft is you look at that draft and, you've mentioned Mike Evans, a hell of a player, and Jadeveon Clowney's been very good. Odell has been good as well. But, man, Aaron Donald at 13 and Zach Martin at 16, first ballot Hall of Famers, lasted almost half the round there. It's kind of one of the interesting things when you look back at it.
And meanwhile, your guy John Gruden was losing his mind with each pick because they weren't taking Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel for the first 24 picks of the draft.
The one that is the most glaring, though, is the Lions taking Eric Ebron, the tight end from North Carolina, at spot number 10, because they had both Ndamukong Suh and Nick Fairley.
Yeah,
Remember
that's
Nick
right.
Fairley, first-round pick out of Auburn.
Right.
Both of them were entering the last year of their contracts. The cupboard was bare. That was the team that I had pegged to take Aaron Donald.
I think a lot of people
clearly
did.
above all
Right.
others. Big need, and they just and again, 6'1", 284 may have had something to do with it. So great for the Rams that with their second, with one of the not the pick they got from Washington for RG3, but the pick they earned, I think. It may have been, I can't remember, because they traded a bunch of them too, but they had 2 first-round picks because it was the last year of the aftermath of the RG3 trade, but they did make one of them work, and they worked well. And that's the great irony. They're the F them picks, almost said the word, F them picks team. The big asterisk on F them picks is Aaron Donald was a pick.
Yes.
He wasn't a guy that you acquired as a veteran. So sometimes it works to cling to that pick and use it.
No doubt. They hit gold. They hit the jackpot with that one. I mean, no question. And that was, hey, we got to give that's Jeff Fisher, right? And that group there that
and Les Snead.
Yeah,
Les Snead was still
Les is there too. Yes. So you got to give them credit, certainly. And hey, Les Snead, as much as we talk about F them picks and all that, we have tried our best to discuss that. Damn, when he does pick, he's pretty damn good. And that's why the Rams are who they are too. Yeah, they've made a lot of big trades and traded away first rounders, but as we talked about during the draft time, damn, have they killed it in the 3rd and 4th and 5th rounds of the draft the last 5-6 years, and had a lot of really big time contributing players that were drafted in those rounds.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.